How does one develop authentic leadership? Well, the key to life is authenticity. Once you learn how to fake that, the rest is easy. No, I kid. It's not about faking authenticity. So in this video, we're going to give you the blueprint for how to develop an authentic leadership style. I'm LizJSimpson, founder of the Big Money Movement, and I have the honor to be accompanied by
Cheryl Parks
and Heather Petherick.
They are our esteemed coaches at the Big Money Movement. So let's jump into this topic of authentic leadership. I'll say first and foremost, at the Big Money Movement, we help women entrepreneurs to land 5- and 6-figure corporate clients. So these are women who have left corporate and now they're building their own business from the ground up. And quite often where I hear this question is as they endeavor to be leaders, they're questioning how they should show up as leaders. And a big part of this question is because they're trying to model from what they've seen before. And when they're trying to model what they've seen before, it doesn't feel good because they have a lot of trauma from their corporate experience, okay? And I'm brushing with broad strokes based off of what we see commonly in having trained thousands of women from around the globe. The underlying story themes that we see over and over is that women are making an exit from corporate because they felt undervalued, they felt skipped over for opportunities, they felt like they hit a ceiling, and they wanted a life that was further in alignment with their desired lifestyle and this idea of freedom. So if they've left corporate because they felt like their experience was missing the mark, they struggle with, I only have a reference from what I've seen before, but that reference hasn't served me well, right? And so I think first and foremost, we have to shed what we've seen before, and we have to have the courage to say, all right, I get to create a new blueprint for myself and take those lessons to say, sometimes what we embody is not because we've seen a great blueprint, but because we've seen what not to be, right? So I think first there is to heal from that trauma, face it, and figure out where's the cream, where's the best part of that you can take for yourself. Cheryl and Heather, I'd love to hear from you too on your thoughts about this.
So first and foremost, I think we cannot look at leadership as being a one-size-fits-all, right?
Right,
So
yes.
You just mentioned a couple of things. You said you were broad brushing, right?
Yeah.
So what we're discussing really is the idea that it is a specific, especially in this era, right? People want to be recognized for their whole selves.
Yeah.
They want to be able to bring their whole self to the office, to work, to the client opportunity. They want to be able to actually show and demonstrate who they are, what they know, and be themselves and stop all this extracurricular, I have to show up the way you want me faking it, and then not realizing that because you're not being whole, because you're not being genuine and authentic, the person that you're meeting with, speaking to, joining forces with, they might not be comfortable doing the same. Mm-hmm. So you kind of have to give what you expect to get. And, that reciprocal relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to key in on that, Cheryl, what you talked about of the efforting that goes into being something that you're not and the cost associated with it, right? Oftentimes as women in business, we don't have great models to go off of. Yeah. And we think the only way to become a leader is to fake it, right? Yeah. To assume this level of bravado that maybe isn't natural to us, or wearing this fake veneer of confidence that really we don't have. And there's a definite cost to that. Emotionally, energetically, it is draining. But there's also a cost for the individuals that we're working with, whether that's team members or whether that's prospects that we're looking to do business with. Mm-hmm. That all of that faking and efforting, it can definitely be felt. They may not be able to articulate it, but they can feel it, right? Or they can smell it a mile away.
100%.
Let me tell you.
My 100%.
Right? And that's often what repels us in business is we can't really put our finger on it, but we just know something is disingenuous. Something is maybe too good to be true or too perfect. And I think as women, that's why, we talk about corporate trauma. That's one of the things that we flee the corporate setting because there's a lot of that. And sometimes it's rewarded in the corporate setting. So true. And so we don't have great models of authentic leadership. And it takes a real step change coming out of corporate where maybe that bravado and that fake confidence is rewarded. And having this leap of faith that showing up as my true, genuine self and knowing that that's not perfect and that I don't know all the answers, but yet that's going to still inspire leadership. That's really what authentic leadership is being able to say, you know what, look team, look prospect, I may not be perfect. I may not always have the answer, but I will outwork anyone, or I will be able to find a way to make this work. And we're going to come together and I can point the way. And it's leaders that are willing to accept, sometimes even celebrate or recognize their own weakness, their weaknesses or their gaps or their lack, that truly are inspirational. But it takes a real step change to do that, and a real self-love. Yes. Coming to a place of self-love that I know I can keep doing this even if I'm not good at that or I don't know how to do this. That inspires confidence because it gives everyone else permission to do the same.
And cut. You need more. You're still here. Okay. All right. So clearly that wasn't enough for you. All right. So, that makes me think one of my favorite books is Finding Your North Star by Martha Beck. I love that book. And at my season in life, it resonated with me because she described, as a psychologist, I believe it was, and she talked about how she would see individuals self-sabotage, or how there would be unique circumstances that would happen in their life where really, I call it, their soul was crying out.
Yes.
So they were living a life that was not integrated or that wasn't aligned, and they ignored that for so long that all of a sudden they would have random things. Like she writes in the book how major executives would miss meetings that there's no way they should be missing, or they would make major errors, or they would have emotional breakdowns or physical, even health ailments. And so she talked about, like, from a scientific standpoint, how if you stay living a life that isn't authentic or ignoring yourself, your body, your brain is going to continue to endeavor to get your attention, right? And so I love when you say that, like, listen, if you hear me saying veneer of fake confidence, listen, you know who I got it from, but I'm gonna act like it's mine. But when you talk about that veneer of fake confidence, it only lasts so long. And I feel like your spirit, there's something about you that's going to say, this isn't right. Yeah. Versus what I feel like when you are really stepping into authentic leadership and owning it, I'll say for myself, I know I don't get it right, but I know that, meaning I don't get every decision right. Let me clarify that. But when my team lets me know that they feel my intention and they feel safe, and they give me grace, then I'm like, okay, then it's all right. Like, it's not that I'm gonna get all the things right now. Collectively, that's the point of the damn team. What I got a team for if I was gonna figure out all this shit myself, right? Right? But like collectively we can figure it out. But like to have a team that's like, all right, I understand your intentions, and not in a, let me please be clear, not in a lazy way, because I have a whole soapbox about people saying, well, you should know my intentions. It's like, well, no, be better at navigating how intention turns into action. But I think when we talk about the embodiment of authentic leadership, it's your team's going to know. Like, from your perspective, how would you say that someone could see or recognize, you know what, I think I'm owning my authentic leadership style right now?
I'm not quite sure how to answer your question, but here's an idea that bubbles up.
Okay.
I know someone is an authentic leader when they can make a mistake, they can come up with the wrong answer, or they recognize a gap that they've missed and it doesn't debilitate them. They are resilient. They can give themselves grace, or they can give their team grace, because they know that their self-worth, their reputation is greater than any individual decision. Right. And that, to me, there's an unshakableness to someone who is an authentic leader, right? Because they know they don't have to be perfect every day. They don't have to always be right. But their intention is what drives them. And that creates a resilience and an unshakableness that is so freaking magnetic. That's why I love authentic leaders.
Listen, there is really nothing else to be said, okay? So make sure you rewind, listen to this on repeat. I know I will, because there is such a need for all of us to step into authentic leadership. If you want to continue conversation with us, click the next video. We're going to talk about how to get corporate clients. And trust me, you're going to see some underlying themes that translate from this conversation to that conversation. So hurry up and click that video now. We'll see you there. Bye.